aspiration of justice, and this is what we pursue. We pursue it very, very strong. For the first time, I'm hearing that somebody has been withdrawn as an accused person, the third accused, and is being made a witness. And he files it off as of right. But the law says you should have the consent of the judge to do so. Now, I could tell you that it is one of the interesting developments and dramatic moments in this whole thing, because an accused person, I do not know the constitution, has become a prosecution witness. So you could see that the Attorney General is in an indecent haste to rehabilitate the case. Because as a matter of fact, the Attorney General has published to the whole world that the third accused is into money laundering activities with the first and second accused. So what has changed? And guess who signed it? The Attorney General signed this before the court. And the charge sheet says so. So right now, what has changed for the Attorney General to have, if you like, a huge somersault and say that right now, the one that have accused us being involved in money laundering to come and testify against the people. It was charged with. So it's too early to talk about it, but for me, it leaves much to be desired. What informed the lady that today I'm bold to accept what the Attorney General is saying and become a prosecution witness? These are matters that we're prying to.
Right, and that's Atacha as captured by TV3. He was trying to actually impugn and indict the lady as well. So the lady who worked for Edubuahing and the wife, she has actually not just been withdrawn and been discharged, but she has become a witness for the state against Edubuahing, his wife, and the company. And she tells a story about how she met Edubuahing through the church. They were together in the church, and she was introduced to Edubuahing by their pastor, Pastor Wongam. Edubuahing needed some banking transactions. At the time, she was working with a bank, and then eventually her bank transferred her to Tema. It was too far away from where she lived at Zitamrahia or somewhere like that, and therefore she quit and then stayed with Edubuahing's business, helping run their business. And a number of companies were incorporated by Edubuahing and the wife with her name, Mildred Donko, as a part of the company. They were having board meetings. She was never part of the board meeting. She was never put as an employee of any of the companies, only that at the end of the month she was receiving her monies. And she talks about how she had to do transactions, huge cash of money and so on and so forth. Atacha says, be careful of such a person that was with him, and now you are going to use him against these other people. Some say this suggests there's a weakness in the AG's case. Others say this would be a good strategy. Where do you stand?
I think that this is the most interesting development that has happened in this case in a long time. In every prosecution, I think that these kinds of moves reinforce the prosecution's case and are helpful to your ultimate end goal. So I think from the very beginning, even the indications were already beginning to emerge. One, that she dissociated herself from Atacha representing her, which was smart strategy, I would say. And myself, some individuals.
So it was a build-up.
It was a build-up to where we've gotten to. And I even do think that, you know, if I was even advising them, I don't think that the husband and the wife should share the same counsel. In criminal matters, each individual must stand on their own and have their own representation, because you want to be careful in terms of the extent to which you join your defense strategy. So this was a good thing. I think that any serious observer who reads what has been filed can say that this is a big win for the prosecution, because a lot of times in terms of prosecuting these kinds of offenses, you have a theory of the case, but it is helpful to you when an insider comes up and volunteers information and in fact shares insights, which is what is happening now, that a lot of the things which the AGs would not have been privy to, but for her willingness to talk and aid prosecution in this case. So I think that they would be concerned. I mean, I still sense a resolve to go through to the end of this, but I would be pursuing a plea bargain arrangement in the circumstances of what at least I'm seeing on paper. That you need to at least have a conversation with the AG. And a plea bargain, I know that now plea bargain is suggesting that refund money and go, but plea bargain also means that you're trying to reach an accommodation regarding the sentencing as well.
You are actually convicted.
You are convicted before the court. And I would, you know, on the basis of what has come up again, it has to be tested during cross-examination, but I do think this is a big win for the prosecution.
49 million. Well, let's see how that goes. So that will be it for that subject. Now let's go to the Alan Kyerematen's new, kid on the block, the new political party, the United Party. They call it the UP Plus. Will it make any inroads, as is being suggested? People like Inus of Husseini believe that this can give the NPP a run for their money. It can lead to the disintegration of the NPP. Those who are not excited will just jump, knowing that they are not running away from too much away from home. They will just jump from one boat to the next, which is still a UP tradition, and the NPP will suffer for it. But will this happen? Asa Asante says that, oh, forget it, this is a mirage. They won't make any inroads. At least he's speaking from the history we have in this country, where breakaways like this have not really, mattered, and they have not done well in, the elections. I think it was Indum and Guzitano who managed some reasonable votes, up to about 2%. The rest of them, they hardly are able to make, 1%. Yes. Nana?
Oh, brother.
The butterfly couldn't fly.
Oh.
Or it was in a formative stage. Now it has matured. And it dies in a UP.
The butterfly is still butterflying. We haven't changed our logo. I think that we haven't changed our stance. I believe in one thing, that yes, your name can change, but you only would have to stand on your principles, your values, and what others would call your ideology. That is what is most important. You understand me? I think that the movement for change was more of a special purpose vehicle that was used in the 2024 presidential elections to present Alan John Kojo Kyerematen to Ghanaians as an independent presidential candidate. And having campaigned throughout the country and haven't presented the force, which we did, it was important that we come to stay. We couldn't always be presenting Alan Kyerematen or other persons that we did believe in as independent presidential candidates. We needed to form a solid home, and because we have the foundation, we have the structures, we have the men, we have indeed the brains that we are able to put together, the leadership. And as I said earlier in one of my submissions, I said that we do have everything as a country. What we do lack is that leadership that is ready, and is that leadership of integrity, that leadership that is ready to enforce the laws and the rules of our land, that leadership that is incorruptible, that leadership that is forward-thinking, and that would put Ghana first. And Samson, you would testify that if you compare what we have in the Great Transformational Plan, which we did then, and the manifestos of the two political parties that we have, the Great Transformational Plan has an in-depth thinking that is able to put or change and transform Ghana's economical status, and to be able to change the governance system that we have in our country. I think you had a copy, you read it.
Of course.
Saw the thinking that went into it. And
I voted for it.
Of course. I mean, and don't be surprised if by next week, as the Deputy General Secretary, I write to you trying to invite you to join my legal team. I mean, it's going to be an interesting moment. Everybody around this table would agree with me that we need a third force in this country. Everybody agrees. Why? Because, see, these two political parties have been in and out of government for close to 36 years. Nothing different has been presented to Ghanaians. Everything that happened in terms of governance, we're going around it. In terms of corruption, we're going around it. In terms of the economy, we're going around it. If they come to understand that there is another force that is coming, and that is coming to lead them, they will do things right.
You're breaking the duopoly.
Break the duopoly. And fortunately for us, we've come at a time where one of the duos is already declining. And so, if we have all of those Ghanaians...
The decline in parliamentary representation cannot be said to represent what the party's base is. Of course, we have been told over and again that they were disenchanted in the last election, but that doesn't mean that in the next election the NPP will not have the numbers.
What is the party's base? They are not able to tell us. None of these political parties is able to tell us their exact registered party members. They talk about sympathizers. And I mean, today I could be a sympathizer, tomorrow I will not be. I am a sympathizer based on values, principles, and ideas. And so if you have a home that has broken values and principles and ideology, then we in the United Party, the UP, as it were, we say we are a centrist party. We take that which is good from the left, we take that which is good from the right, we bring it to the center, and we ensure an absolute implementation, putting Ghana first. Samson, if you look at our vision, we said that we have a vision of making Ghana an economic powerhouse of Africa. We are looking into a vision 2040. That is what we are looking into. You understand me? And if you take our great transformational plan, you would understand where we are coming from. The entire mission of
When I read that plan and the kind of revolution you want to cause,
yes,
it sounds to me like what you can find in an Asian country, not in our democracies of 4 years, So it doesn't give time to be able to do such expansive,
that is where we
change.
talk about leadership. If we have that leadership that is able to put the infrastructure and the structures in place
within 4 years.
Within 4 years. And we are able to put it in motion. No other person that takes over from us would have what it takes to change it. See, I don't know if you've had a copy of the proposals we sent to the Constitutional Review Reform Committee. We are not just talking about economy. We are talking about governance that rallies the economy. So if we are able to put together that structure to hold the economy, Samson, since Ghana would not be as you see it today. I mean, we have CSOs and we have political parties talking about the fight of Galamsey. Tell me in all honesty, which of these have put out a well-scripted, practically oriented solution to the fight of Galamsey? Oliver is here.
Look, we have seen your programs and plans once again, and I took my time to read them, and that's why publicly I said I endorsed it publicly.
Yes.
Your attempt to fight corruption and all of that. We see nice things on paper. How they translate into reality becomes another matter. But to be able to make some inroads into our political system, you should at least count on at least one MP.
So that is why we formed the UP. We went into this election, the 2024 election, as an independent presidential candidate. We were not able to file for MPs because we ourselves were an independent people. This time we are coming in as a political party to be able to file in every single constituency a candidate.
Wouldn't you be rather strategic? Look for places where you have a little advantage
and
concentrate your finances rather than spread yourself thin?
As much as we would be strategic, we would want to spread our tentacles. That feel of our presence would be in the next elections.
In the last elections, all the other parties and other candidates contributed or got only 1.8%. So you should be more strategic than wanting to be everywhere.
We got what we got due to the existing structures we have with the Electoral Commission. Samson, we presented a candidate. It took us the heavens to even be able to attend IPAC meetings, for them to accept us to be part of IPAC, because they said we are an independent people. When we went in for our agent cards and accreditation to allow our agents to move from one polling station to the other and all of that, there were some of the constituencies and regions that we never have had access to these cards and clearance. Why? Because they said that we were not a political party. So the mindset of even the Electoral Commission as an institution needs to be reset and changed. And that is why we come with the UP and United Party, because we would be calling on every other single smaller party in this country that thinks that there is the need for us to deal with the dues that have handled this nation over 32 to 36 years to come on board, so that we would be able to have access to men like you and Oliver.
What does the history of smaller parties in this country tell you? The PNC used to be strong. In 1996, then they managed some 3%, that was heavy. 2000, then they managed some 2.50%. Then 2004, they declined 1-point-something%. Then Papa Kwesi Ndum came in, very organized party, in the manner you are also beginning to show with the UP or the Movement for Change. First, Papa Kwesi Ndum in the CPP made 1.32%. Then on his own, on the PPP, the 0.59% in 2012. Then managed some 1% in 2016. And then, Christian Andrew, the GUM party, 0.85% in 2020. What does that history tell you?
History is history, data is data. We build on them. Samson, yesterday, you wouldn't have had a smaller party being represented here on your platform. Today, the times have changed. We are presenting to you ideas. We are presenting to you a force. So you have recognized our impact on the socio-political economy of this nation. Am I right?
Even as the Movement for Change.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So time has evolved. So Papa Kwesi Ndum had issues yesterday because, yes, he might have had fine structures. He might have had all of that. But maybe even the persons to even help coordinate and to move his PPP had issues.
Okay,
we do
let me get a few.
If you look at
let me get a few views across and come back to you.
Very well.
Kyerematen.
Yes.
This is trying to steal from the NPP. That's the way you guys are seeing it, particularly as they are going to the roots of your tradition, the UP.
Interesting. I mean, it didn't start from today. Some time back in April 2008. Mr. Alan Kyerematen had cause to have said that he was resigning from the NPP. And our then former chairman, or then Darucha, wrote a statement after a series of meetings with him and the concerns or grievances that he had against the party. Okay? Wrote
and concluded in threefold. First, Mr. Alan Kyerematen, matters that he raised against the party then were not so grave in his view. Two, some bluff, sort of, against the party was sin. And the third, he had a national interest picture, and he even quoted him when he wrote to him that the national interest to him matters more than the party. That is his belief. And that is the belief of my brothers.
Read that portion so that we
no, it's clear.
Ghanaians are able to
I can read it for you.
To understand that indeed
that is what
Alan has not been thinking
I'm
not
reading,
today about Ghana.
So look at it. Yeah, I'm saying he's been thinking about, he said the national interest mattered to him most than the MPP. And he was quoted by Darocha in the statement. That's the point I was making. If you want me to still read, I will read.
It's okay. It's okay.
Very good. You see, the point I'm trying to make is that when you subscribe to a political party and its ideologies, try as much as possible to stay put to such ideologies and make suggestions as to how we can ameliorate going forward. But showing, that level of, say, with all respect, sorry about that, showing that level of, say, if it's not about me, then it shouldn't be someone else. I think it's rather unfortunate. However, we are all very matured people.
But now he has moved beyond that. This now it's about a party,
that's the
not
point
about the individual.
So he's gone, we've moved beyond that. We all have decisions to make as adults, as people who are matured. And of course, and I respect Mr. Alan Kyerematen to the hilt. I know the kind of person he is, and I know how deep he is, as it were. So he has the right and the discretion to make decisions for himself. This decision is okay. If they have built it, and then we have pundits within the political cycle or political studies who say that, look, this is not going to go anywhere in terms of whether or not it's going to affect the MPP. So me, I agree with them.
You agree with them?
Yes, and I agree with them.
You were as dismissive as you are now, and you saw the results in 2024.
Why?
You had your most abysmal performance.
The results in 2024, if you follow the trajectory of how election goes in Ghana since the inception of our fourth Republican Constitution, you would agree with me that after 8 years of a party in power, okay, the factors of party leaving you is not the only cause, or somebody leaving a party is not the only cause. Okay, economic factors come to play. Internal arrangement in terms of your primaries at polling station, or whatever the parliamentary primaries.
It could be said that
a lot of issues will come.
The over 30,000 votes that he got may have come to the NPP, and that could have helped.
Well,
in some places you need just a handful of votes.
John Dramani Mahama
for your
was
parliamentary
president
candidates
of Ghana in 2016 and went into the election with the NDC. He lost with over 1 million votes. His Excellency, the Vice President, Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia, lost also the election with a difference of 1.7 million. It tells you there's a trajectory. After 8 years, you have that. In 2008, when we had Akufo-Addo leading, obviously we lost again. So I'm saying after 8 years, that psychology of a party staying 8 years in power comes to play. That is there. So one cannot say that because Alan Kyerematen left, and the 31,000 that he got is what contributed to our loss. Anyway, but I'm saying, I saw DFP coming out of the NDC, led by the venerable Obeda Samwa, okay, and Bedzeden, who was the then General Secretary also.
Deputy General Secretary.
Deputy General Secretary also. Today he's Member of Parliament for Laura on the ticket of NDC. It didn't go anywhere. I saw Guzitano. It didn't go anywhere. Okay, and some other political parties. I'm saying that yes, the duopoly has come to stay. If you
Guzitano actually made a good showing in the 2000 elections.
Yes,
because he got 1.2%.
Did that affect the
Charles Rekubrobe made 0.3%.
No, it did that affect the NDC.
It did affect the NDC.
The NDP is gone. Wait a minute.
There was a coalition.
Guzitano came out of the NDC. Yeah. DFP came out of the NDC. The NDP, led by Mrs. Rawlings, came out of the NDC. Where is the NDC now? This is so sometimes when you look at this and you are going to make some analysis,
Okay.
one will tell you that this will not go anywhere. For me,
Okay.
it is a mere.
So pause there.
You know,
Yes,
show of,
yes, Doc.
whatever.
The
Yeah.
comparison is neither here nor there.
work.
And I can see him gleefully trying to compare President Mohammed's 1 million and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. When the Akufo-Addo had that
1.2 million.
that 1 million plus votes, we were saying this was a record. Today, it's become a convenience for comparison or convenient comparative benchmark.
What's the point?
But, you know, that said, you see, all of this my brother is trying to do to make them feel good, the comparisons are neither here nor there. Look, when Obed was leaving the MPP, so the NDC at the time, when he peeled away, and let's say Guzi, who made a significant inroads into that election, we lost the election and we're in power moving. You are in opposition. How do you compare this within that metric of having lost an election in opposition and people peeling away? We were in power, and the disaffection of that allowed a coalition, a certain coalition where you had the likes of Mal and Issa
They didn't move
ushering
away.
the government with
They
you.
moved away when we were in
So
power.
now,
Not now.
no, we're talking about now again. They've rebranded. It's part of them.
No, they
moving
left long
away.
ago.
And
They
they
had
rebranded to
31,000.
UP. So you see, but Samson, it's quite interesting, and it's to have a fair balance. Nana is here, and I don't know, maybe they went for branding reasons. They went for UP, which I think would even affect the MPP some more. If you look at the political historic genealogy of the MPP, or probably our landscape, the 1957 Avoidance of Discrimination Act,
Yes.
right, BEFT, which said that there should not be any political party that have an affiliation with ethnicity. So it birthed what was then known as the UP. That was headed by Kofi Abrefa-Busia. And this was an amalgamation of the Muslim youth, the Muslim party.
Yes.
Right, you have the GA.
What's the point?
No, what's my point? What do you mean? We're having
He's giving a history.
well, yes.
Don't pay attention to him. You need to
Please
finish
go on,
speaking for me.
He's running away from their own history. Please go on.
Don't let him distract you.
Okay, so we had the Togoland Congress, the Muslim Association Party,
I can give you the list of them.
Yes, the GA Shifomor and the Alo Youth that came together, led by Kwame Abrefa-Busia, that birthed the UP, which became the main opposition party at the time. Very formidable until its dissolution in 1964 thereabout. Why am I saying this? That gave a potent force, and the MPP draws its inspiration from UP, the Dankwa-Buzia tradition and all of that, that came under the emblem of the UP. That gave it potency. So if today a breakaway faction, Nana sitting here, his DNA is MPP. Alan Kyerematen's DNA is MPP. It is for now. It is just a camp of disaffection.
So this is convenient to
Right.
tell you they can easily come back.
No. Well, but by which time your camp is gone.
Oh, well, anyway.
So they are here to cause a disruption and win their party back. So we are saying, let's go for our old identity.
How many in the NDC don't have their DNA in the CPP?
Oh, but when you say that the CPP, I mean, even the NPP have that, because for having a first political party, it means that a lot of DNAs will be broken away from it.
It is possible.
No, the point is, your example of the CPP idea, CPP, right, was the gene that birthed political party. So the tendency to have that is there.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So you look at all of these that has happened, and until we had a one-party state system. So the branding for me, to which they are coming with, is very potent. And I know Kamal Dean and his team are running scared.
Really?
You are running scared.
Oh, no.
Right? If you face the reality.
No.
To go after. I mean, Kabiru just texted that they are going to go to court. Have you guys pretended the UP? Or they could go to court
will come
for
to
the
that.
meeting?
Okay.
So it tells you...
Let's hear Oliver quickly.
Kabir is not the
They are a
party.
formidable
Kabir is
force,
not the party.
Okay.
right, internally to disrupt the current MPP. But can they be a third force? I doubt.
You doubt that. Yes.
And I see them returning possibly.
Yes,
when
Oliver,
they have
you
the
have
party back.
been preaching and yearning for third forces because the duopoly have done us they've not done us good.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, historically, after the Cold War, perhaps Ghana and the US are the only countries where the main political parties have continued to remain in place. Across the continent, in Africa and Europe, even in the UK now, where you're seeing the Conservatives and Labour going down for reform and the Greens coming up, it shows that there's a changing dynamic where, the old guard is changing across the continent. So it's an interesting thing. What we have never seen, when you talk about the Nkrumahism in this country, that there are so many Nkrumahist parties that have come up and spread from that ideology. We have never seen that with the UP tradition, where a new entity is coming out from that stock, which is challenging for power. So how far it goes will be interesting. But the question for me is, what constituency is looking to build? I do believe that the vast majority of people in this country tend to be more of the left. It's saying that it is going to consider mobilizing constituencies around the center. Now, I don't know whether there's a clamor generally for centrist ideas in the country, and if that's what it's intending to do, I don't know for sure. But what it can provide, and this is where it perhaps becomes interesting, what it can provide is a real challenge to the MPP itself, because for the first time it's seeing its ideological foundations being challenged by persons who are claiming a certain level of authenticity to it and what it represents. What I was expecting that I was going to see in the last election, I didn't see with the Movement for Change, was being able to focus its campaign within the Akan-dominated areas and perhaps build a constituency out of that would force either the MPP to re-invite them or something. I think perhaps that's what they can still aim for in many respects. So I take your point that they have to be a bit more strategic. Rather than going for the entirety of the country, they have to figure out where it is the message would have the broadest and the most strongest appeal. And if it is building up on some of those folks within the MPP who are disaffected, then there's something that they can do there, I think.
Sule, what can you say in the next 2 minutes? Pardon me, somehow, next time you should be in the studio. Hello, Sule.
Yes, Samson.
Yes.
Well, I think that I agree with those who say that perhaps this will go nowhere. And for a few reasons. One, my conviction is that to be able to break through the duopoly we have, it will require a very energetic, a very inspirational mobilizer, and somebody who is already, well liked by the people. Somebody whose, ideas and all of that are, ideas that people really, ideas that resonate with the masses of our people. I think we don't have to forget that when people associated with this movement talks about the duopoly and all of that, and for the last 30-something years, we should remember that Honorable Alan Kyerematen is not a stranger to the duopoly. He played a key role in the 8 years of President Kufuor, and people would say, during that period, what did we see? After that period, what has he really done to show that, look, this is somebody...
party, it is not exactly about him.
Of course. But Samson, even those of us who are just ordinary people, we're trying to do the little that we can in terms of, whatever expertise that we think that we have. I am not saying that Honorable Alan is not, a fantastic person, but what it takes to really break through this, as I said, you must have the energy. Honorable Alan was 70 years, a few weeks ago, and from 70, how much can you really do?
Okay, let's see how much he's able to do. I'm very sorry. But this is where we have to draw the curtains. Program is brought to you by Bank of Africa, as strong as a group and close as a partner, MTN everywhere you go. Ashesi University, educating ethical and entrepreneurial leaders for Africa. Robert & Sons Optical Services, your comprehensive eye care service provider for 33 plus years. My Way Insurance, dial *165# on the MTN to join My Way today. Syntex Tanks is strong, it's tough. Activa International Insurance, our clients, our passion. International Facilities Management Association. They are proudly associated with Newsfile. Safari Valley Eco Park, bringing you closer to nature. Valex Lease, your affordable documents management solutions. And my outfits is by Hadrils Couture. You can find them at Ajiringano, opposite Villa David Estate. You can call them 0200